Hi there from Waikiki, Honolulu, Hawaii. I want to congratulate Obama for beginning to at least open the conversation to the broader questions involving what to do about public education. I've been a teacher, I have been a teacher and was a teacher for 35 years, starting in the Peace Corps, going all the way into the Teacher Corps in San Francisco, working many ghetto, quote, ghetto schools, and then teaching every grade from kindergarten up through 8th grade. So I know of what I speak, and what I would like to get through to Obama, his wife, or any of the other candidates that really want to overhaul public education is this primary message. We take children at the age of kindergarten or pre-K and we begin to steal their focus. We begin to steal their natural inborn guidance system away from them, and we begin to indoctrinate them into a very secularized, materialistic, consumeristic, competitive paradigm. Children hold on to what has been called by Joseph Campbell the golden ball of their joy. Most of the time, up until about 5th grade or 6th grade, I've taught those grades, and I always preferred to teach 5th and 6th grade because I saw after 6th grade, children are pretty much bombarded with so much. You've got to make it into the best high school, you've got to make it into the best college to survive in the capitalistic system, that they begin to lose their joy, and they begin to lose their love of life, and they begin to lose their connection with their, what I call, their cosmic super self. I wrote a book, here it is, right here, called Uncle Tom's Classroom: How One Public School Teacher Awakened His Students to the Cosmic Super Self Within. Actually, I wrote this book with my students, my public school students at AP Giannini Middle School in San Francisco. We wrote it collaboratively because about 10 years ago I was blessed to have a principal and a faculty and continued to be blessed with a liberal administrative and parental group around me that said, yeah, it's failing. You know, all they're doing, all the public schools are doing, are killing my child's creative joys and trying to fit them into a very narrow idea of what life is supposed to be like. They say that the separation of church and state is working. It isn't. The separation of church and state has separated God, has separated kids from their inner God essence, their spirit, whatever you want to call it, their inner being. And they're not allowed to develop that at all. They're supposed to stay in the mind at all times, and they're supposed to focus their mind on the state curriculum, which is, let me tell you as clearly as I can, after being there for 35 years, a religion of secular, material, industrial power over. It's a paradigm that literally brainwashes kids into seeing America as kind of a new Roman Empire, to see the only religion, the only way to create anything is to get a good job and get gold, to get money. So gold is the religion being taught in the public school system. Then you add the competitiveness of the grading system and you get a hierarchy which is as harsh as any social stratus social system in India or Old England, where the A students and the good athletes are constantly rewarded, so they will rise to the top of the military industrial complex. So the C students are kept in the middle, so they'll be willing to work in a cubicle somewhere for the rest of their lives and not question it, because of course they've already been told over and over and over and over and over by the system that they're C students. And then you have the D and F students. Do you know that there are more prisons being built right now in America, I have heard, than there are public schools? Because there really hasn't been a commitment to overhaul the public school system from the bottom, from the ground up. There never has been. Eisenhower warned us why. He was the original truth teller when he went around before he died saying, watch out, the military-industrial complex has an agenda which it is trying to insert into the American dream and into the school system, which is a very narrow agenda of material, secular, consumeristic, capitalistic one-upsmanship. I mean, it's everywhere. And then what else I talk about in this book, which nobody's talking about yet, is the way terror and fear are being used in the system to control the children. When you think about kids like Einstein or Helen Keller, when you think about the real creative kids, the kids with genius, those are the very kids that question, and those are the kids that usually get in the most trouble, because the system it doesn't want questioning. It doesn't want free thinking. It doesn't want free discourse. What the system tries to do by using humiliation, detention, punishment, Fs, parent conferences, whatever you can remember from your own youth, what it tries to do and what it has succeeded in doing so often is breaking the spirit of our children. Now let's connect the dots. When you break the spirit of a child early on and you keep going over and over and over how you're not good enough, how you're inadequate, how you have no power, how it's the system that has the power. The system has the power, not you. The system has the power. By the time you're in college, you pretty much bought into the idea that the system has the power, until, of course, Hurricane Katrina hits and you learn the system doesn't have the power. The system is a big liar. Anyway, in this book, I talk about a solution. I talk about a number of solutions that we created in my classroom in San Francisco, whereby we allowed children to create their own curriculum. We based our educational adventure, on Joseph Campbell's idea that he developed when he was teaching college, that if you allow a child to find their own bliss, they can develop a curriculum around their own talents, their own bliss, and they can find out early on in life their purpose. In fact, we talked about that. What is the purpose of life? What is the meaning of life? Why do we exist? If these issues could be brought back into the public conversation, along with the idea that to treat our children like indentured servants, to try to train them to be little Uncle Toms, which is what the system really wants everybody to be, we need to change that. We need to change that, and we need to go back to the ideals, many of the ideals that those of us that remember the 60s had in the 60s, which is question the dominant paradigm. When I was working for the superintendent of schools in San Francisco, I saw a secret government report. I think it was a Rockefeller Commission funded report, which basically addressed the question, since every president since Eisenhower has declared we shall improve public education, why hasn't it been improved? Well, because they will always find reasons to spend more money on the military, because the military-industrial complex basically controls America today, and the industrial complex needs undereducated masses. Therefore, if you undereducate the masses, if you confuse them to the point that they come out of the school system redefining themselves not as cosmic supercells with incredibly amazing capacities for creative living, but when kids come out of the school system thinking of themselves as C or D, kind of like Roseanne Barr showed so well on her wonderful show years ago, when you produce those kinds of kids, you produce lemmings and fodder for the military-industrial complex's plan of making America a workhouse, a kind of a concentration camp workhouse that serves the system. Then, using the media, and I'm not saying all media participates in this, because I love people like Lou Dobbs who are so honest, but by using the media to terrorize us constantly into thinking that we're about to be killed by terrorists, they're not even admitting that the systems here in America use terror to control us. Let us stop being Uncle Toms. Let us wake up and let us develop a new curriculum.